One of the biggest surprises in the earth sciences in recent decades was discovering just how early in Earth's history life arose. Well into the 1950s, it was thought that life was less than 600 million years old. By the 1970s, a few adventurous souls felt that maybe it went back 2.5 billion years. But the present date of 3.85 billion years is stunningly early. The Earth's surface didn't become solid until about 3.9 billion years ago. We can only infer from this rapidity that it is not difficult for life of bacterial grade to evolve on planets with appropriate conditions, Stephen Jay Gould observed in the New York Times in 1996. Or, as he put it elsewhere, it is hard to avoid the conclusion that life, arising as soon as it could, was chemically destined to be. Life emerged so swiftly, in fact, that some authorities think it must have had help, perhaps a good deal of help. The idea that earthly life might have arrived from space has a surprisingly long and even occasionally distinguished history. The great Lord Kelvin himself raised the possibility as long ago as 1871 at a meeting of the British Association for the Advancement of Science, when he suggested that the germs of life might have been brought to the Earth by some meteorite. But it remained little more than a fringe notion until one Sunday in September 1969, when tens of thousands of Australians were startled by a series of sonic booms and the sight of a fireball streaking from east to west across the sky. The fireball made a strange crackling sound as it passed and left behind a smell that some likened to methylated spirits and others described as just awful. The fireball exploded above Murchison, a town of 600 people in the Goulburn Valley north of Melbourne, and came raining down in chunks, some weighing over 5 kilograms. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The meteorite was of a rare type known as a carbonaceous chondrite, and the townspeople helpfully collected and brought in some 90 kilograms of it. The timing could hardly have been better. Less than 2 months earlier, the Apollo 11 astronauts had returned to Earth with a bag full of lunar rocks. So labs throughout the world were geared up, indeed clamoring, for rocks of extraterrestrial origin. The Murchison meteorite was found to be 4.5 billion years old, and it was studded with amino acids, 74 types in all, 8 of which are involved in the formation of earthly proteins. In late 2001, more than 30 years after it crashed, a team at the Ames Research Center in California announced that the Murchison rock also contained complex strings of sugars called polyols, which had not been found off the Earth before. A few other carbonaceous chondrites have strayed into the Earth's path since 1969. One that landed near Tagish Lake in Canada's Yukon in January 2000 was seen over large parts of North America, and they have likewise confirmed that the universe is actually rich in organic compounds. Halley's Comet, it is now thought, is about 25% organic molecules. Get enough of those crashing into a suitable place, Earth for instance, and you have the basic elements you need for life. Everything that has ever lived, plant or animal, dates its beginnings from the same primordial twitch. At some point in an unimaginably distant past, some little bag of chemicals fidgeted to life. It absorbed some nutrients, gently pulsed, had a brief existence. This much may have happened before, perhaps many times, but this ancestral packet did something additional and extraordinary. It cleaved itself and produced an heir. A tiny bundle of genetic material passed from one living entity to another and has never stopped moving since. It was the moment of creation for us all. Biologists sometimes call it the Big Birth. Wherever you go in the world, whatever animal, plant, bug, or blob you look at, if it is alive, it will use the same dictionary and know the same code. All life is one, says Matt Ridley. We are all the result of a single genetic trick handed down from generation to generation over nearly 4 billion years, to such an extent that you can take a fragment of human genetic instruction and patch it into a faulty yeast cell, and the yeast cell will put it to work as if it were its own. In a